All right, the problem that circled itself is back. He's got the stock intake off, so we can put that $700 intake on. Hopefully, your wife's not watching this. Hopefully, you told her the right price.
She knew when I bought it.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So he has the fuel. Basically, it's like a secondary set of fuel injectors. It's a spacer. Well, when you do that, this guy gets in the way, so you have to lop off the ear. Well, they don't allow for that. So, the thing we just freshly powder coat, we gotta lop off the corner. So that'll be exciting. And then we're trying to get this piece of shit to work. I hate it. They could have created such a better system, and this thing's trash. But how we have it wired up, for whatever reason, what's it doing? It just basically doesn't...
So it's getting power, at least all the way up to here, but it will not connect to my laptop.
Yeah, it runs into a connection. Like, it just won't connect to the laptop. But when we initially put this system in, we hooked, we used, jumper cables to a secondary battery and just ran it to those, and it worked fine. So my idea, hopefully it'll work, is we're going to use a relay. So I got this relay. Give her power, ground it, and then we'll run the blue wire up to the power on the actual device, and then we'll use the white wire as the trigger off of an ignition source. So theoretically, you're not running the power out of the fuse box, you're just running a power straight off of the battery. I don't know if it's going to work. It's a dream, and we're going to dream it. So I don't see why it won't work. I mean, granted, I also don't see why it didn't work from the fucking get-go with how much that damn thing was. So, but, yeah, because if that doesn't do it, then he needs to buy a new one of these, essentially. Or maybe, I doubt, does anybody else make them?
So that controller is not made by Stratified. They just put their sticker on it. This controller is actually made by Split Second. So it's the only company that makes them. Cool. But they use them across all a ton of platforms. So like the Mazda Speed 3s run them, Mazda Speed 6s run them.
Anything that has direct injection that needs more fuel.
I mean, a lot of different platforms run this setup, just not by this company. So I don't foresee why this isn't working.
Yeah, and then so the whole reason why we're doing this is because it's significantly cheaper to add a secondary set of injectors than it is for you to upgrade the direct-to-fuel injection shit.
Yep.
Because it's like a diesel. You know, they're really expensive injectors and shit like that. So, all right. Well, let's go fuck up a intake. Alright, so just like that, it's a slick top. So I do got to do some finesse in here because as you can tell it's pretty good, but there is a very clear divot here. So I don't care too much My game plan with this eventually is to make a carbon fiber roof for it. So basically all I need to do is just got to do some body work with some Bondo. I'll see what I can do for pounding out some of these dents and stuff. Slowly working on it, but yeah, not too bad. Yeah, other than that, I got it out, or I got sunroof out, got this welded in, and we just I gotta get some, what the heck is that stuff? Some etching primer, so I can do it onto the straight metal, and then I can do the Bondo, and then get all that good, so that way I can get this thing ready for paint, because it's just gonna get painted for now. I'll do carbon later, but for now I just want to paint the car. So yeah, so once it's done, then I gotta just do some paint prep on the rest of the car, and yeah, I just gotta finish up this hood too. Gotta do this little bit here. Will be pretty good. Taryn left. I forgot to film anything else. We got the intake on. Then we got his new shifter in there. So, and yeah, so yeah. Other than that, that's kind of the gist. So, you know the drill. I'll see you in the next clip when I'm figuring out what the heck I'm doing. Alright, so while I was waiting for the paint to dry, so I used some etching primer. Got that all etch primered up. And while I was waiting for that, I had to figure something to do, so went over here and we got the new blower. It's got a port job on it. It actually came off the motor that was in the Fiero, then I sold it and then I bought it back. So it's actually got a 2.4 modular pulley on it, so should be pretty good. Once she cools off, hopefully she sounds pretty alright. But she's got cool. She is hot. But yeah, we'll let this cool and then work on getting some Bondo done. Alright, well, I gave it a try with some of this stuff. I guess, call it what you want, I guess it kind of worked. I mean, it worked good on the deck lid, so if it's a nice flat surface, sure, but it didn't really cling too well. That door barely did anything too. It was mostly like the stuff that it could actually sit on did pretty well. See, I found some Bondo down there. That door looks like it's all Bondo, but I don't know. We'll find out when we start sanding. There's a shit ton of Bondo on this, which is not surprising because this thing is warped the fuck. My guess is it had a wing at some point, and then they welded the wing holes shut. Guess good thing I want to put a wing back on. So, and then, yeah, I guess that's kind of all the things I found. I mean, you can see they did a lot of things you're not supposed to. Like, basically here, you're not supposed to see any metal. And it's not like I pulled off. Like, that stuff should stick on pretty good. Or you would at least notice it. There's nothing. So they just put paint over any bare metal, which is not ideal. Honestly, I would say there was no primer. It's just black. So, but, yeah. Alright, let's get this thing back in there and let her dry. And then we'll, get to sanding, because that's the option I got. So, yep, got to sand the doors and then the deck lid there and the 2 quarters. Bumper's not a big deal. Front bumper is basically done. Just need to scuff the front fenders, and then the hood will be its own shebang. So, but yeah, that's the gist. All right, so got this side sanded, this sanded. And then I sanded this, and then I already put some etching primer on there on any of the bare spots. So yeah, we're getting there. And then roof I'll have to do like a little bit. There's like a little divot on that side. Otherwise, pretty good. So yeah, we're getting there slowly but surely. Alright, so primer down on this one, primer down on this. We're going to do this black. It's not perfect. So obviously you got like that. I don't know if you're going to even be able to see the flaws that I'm seeing. I know that, I don't know, it's not going to look good, I don't think, but we're going to try. Yeah, you can see that crease right there. I tried. I spent a lot of time freaking trying to do the Bondo and shit, but I have only so much patience, so as good as she gonna get. So once this dries, we'll lay down some black, and yeah, got the fenders flared out so that way I could paint down to there. Then we got the deck lid off so that way I could paint behind there. So I'm trying to do it somewhat right, but it's only obviously gonna be so good. So, but yeah, got the old Harbor Freight special. And yeah, so now wait for this to dry a little bit, and then we'll do some black. I should piss the neighbors off. Alright, so time's come. Obviously I've pulled the roof scoop already. I guess I'm just over it. So my game plan is I gotta decide. I don't know. I kind of want to keep this, but at the same time I don't really want to, because I think it'll look, I think it's gonna look much better if I just get rid of it. So we might be getting rid of that. So first I'm gonna drill it out, and then I'll sand down around these, because we got to fill these. So we're gonna wrap this. Probably not gonna wrap this, but we'll see, I guess. I don't think so, because this is a bit more, since it goes to those, unless I were to create like a hard line or something. But yeah, so with that said, let's get to it. I'd like to get at least something changed on this car before car show season happens, since I spent all my time on that. So maybe we'll skin the hood too, we'll see. But yeah, first things first, gotta get this roof done, because obviously I got some holes in there, so that's not good. So let's get those holes filled and get to it. Alright, well, stuff's gone. We're gonna put down some sealer. Let's do the sealer, then we'll go ahead and maybe do one swipe of Bondo. Maybe, we'll see. It should be pretty close to level anyhow, so I just sanded it all nice and flat, but I did use the flap disc, and then just to knock down a lot of it, and then came in with like just a DA. So, but obviously we're gonna put a carbon over it, so theoretically it might fix itself, or it might not. Maybe it'll just make it look like shit. We'll find out. So, yep, that's all I got. Well, I needed a muffler for autocross, so I tossed this thing together. So I made it so you just line that guy up straight, slide it down in about that far. And then you just gotta play, guess, push that through. Now it's in there. Got a lock nut, so theoretically won't go nowhere. Tighten that down, and actually it's pretty quiet. Obviously it's not super quiet, but it's definitely quieter than what it would have been. So, muffler. Alright, well, went and did the thing that I've been telling you my whole life not to do. And that was buy a fast bike. I don't know. You make to determine if it's a fast bike. It's an R6. 2003 Yamaha R6. 600cc. Thing's pretty fun. Yeah. Just needed a cruiser bike to get me to work. So the Grom kind of sucks. 7 miles into town. Wide open throttle is kind of boring. It's a fun bike when you got nowhere to be, but when you got somewhere to be, it's not the most fun. Now this thing, when you got a place to be, it gets you there. It's fun. So, but let's go over some things. Okay, so here she is, how I got her. Alright, we got some of this going on. There's a crack here. It was, mind you, this was the cheapest R6 in my area. Honestly, I am not complaining. I'm happy with it. I do have these fairings over yonder. This one flew off while riding, so that was cool. So if you know anything about R6s, you might notice something's a little fucky. Why are the handlebars on the underside? So that's cool. I have some new ones coming. So that's an issue. I'd like to get a block off plate for this. The exhaust is kind of just hanging on for dear life. This guy's kind of loose. So yeah. The wiring is questionable at best, but despite all its flaws, it runs great. So yeah, love this thing. It's funny because this has always been a dream bike of mine. And I didn't really know enough. It's just like one of those like things where you see a car and it's like you really like it, and but you don't know nothing about it. I personally am one of those that doesn't do like a bunch of research. I just know I like the vehicle. So in this instance, I really like this bike. I don't know nothing about it, but I really like this bike. So I started doing research into it. some of the cool things that I've learned about it. They don't have gas gauges. It does have a low level light. That's it. What was one of the other ones? I can't remember it now. But I'm sure it was entertaining. But yeah, this is definitely pretty cool. Oh, the other thing was, I figured this thing was carbureted since it's like an 03. Nope, it's fuel injected, so that's pretty sick. Another cool thing, that's some ram air intake, kind of cool. But yeah, dual disc in the front, all sorts of neat stuff. But yeah, so enough jibber jabbing. I'm gonna go ahead and take off all these fairings, so that way I can gain access to this wiring and try and fix the wiring. I'd also like to probably go ahead and get these pulled off as I have the replacements coming. I'll probably just modify these so they can fit on there. I won't cut this at all, but I will modify this so that way they'll fit on there. So, but yeah, let's do this. Well, that should be fun. Welcome to Automotion. Handbrake. right, well, I centered too hard. Hopefully you can hear me. He's knocking, but of course, ran into a train, so now I gotta hope that it starts because it shut off, so yeah, sick. Well, even though the 3800 let me down, it drove me 25 miles home knocking, so that's, I guess, take that for what that's worth. I'm pretty sure the issue is my dumbass. I definitely forgot to put a valve cover gasket on the driver's side during the rush to get this thing going, and yeah, it's a quart low. It's still on the stick, but it's a quart low, so it must have starved of oil or something. So at least hopefully that's the dream. So I'm almost home, so yeah. Well, it got me 25 miles home. Well, I haven't been filming much, but motor is out. I picked up another motor. Didn't pay too much attention. So this one's actually had a supercharger swap on the top, and I didn't catch it till I got home. I paid $150 for this, so it's not the biggest loss. Just means I have to put the heads off of this knocking motor onto here, and then it's back up. And then I'm picking up another one Tuesday. So, but yeah, so I'm gonna get this thing stripped down, get all the parts off of it, and then yeah, I'm waiting on the other motor. Seems a little bit happier. I'll have to go drive it. All right, well, it's in. We haven't done any of the coolant, but and I gotta get a pulley for it still. So, but it's in there.